Welcome back to the Today Show. I'm your host, Christopher Power. With us today is Buddy Brennan, acting coach, CEO coach, and owner-founder of Working Wheel Productions. Before our break, Buddy, you were talking about at one point you were an actor and a director. What made you get that acting bug? Why did you decide that a career in acting up until the point of founding Working Wheel Productions was for you? How did you know?
When I was a young man on stage, I remember, and I was a child, doing community theater in the north, up in Sault Ste. Marie. And I walked on stage and I heard the audience laugh. And I thought, wow, they're laughing because of what I just did. And to think that I could have that effect on people was the start of the bug. But all my life, I tried other things. I tried other jobs. I was never happy. But when I walked into a theater or a movie set, I knew I belonged there. It was home for me. And that was really the changing point for me. And I've acted essentially on stage thousands of times. I did dozens and dozens and dozens of commercials as an actor. But eventually that meant that I wanted to learn more. So I started to direct. And I remember the first show that I directed, the actors, nobody knew it was the first show I had ever directed. And we would be talking about theater. So they thought all my, stories and things I used to relate were directing stories, not realizing I was an actor until they saw the program and it said, Buddy Brennan makes his directorial debut. And, but that for me, when they got a standing ovation and I thought, wow, I helped them do that. That was a life-changing moment for me. Just knowing that my direction, what I was offering them, brought out the best in them, brought out their possible, the things that they didn't know they could do. And they came together as a team. And that's an emotional moment. It was really, really life-changing.
Now, you actually said when you get out there and you hear them laugh, that was this moment for you. Yeah. There's a rumor, and maybe you can help address this. When you go to Hollywood and when you go to the stage, that the people are counting laughs. Is that true?
Yeah, they do. They measure them. Your excess. For example, Yuck Yucks wants a laugh every so many seconds, and if you're telling a story for too long and you're not getting a laugh, you're kind of missing the point of why that audience is there. And right. That's why you'll listen in sitcoms, they put in a fake laugh track to ignite the laughter in you at home. People don't like laughing alone, but if they hear the people in the studio laughing, then they'll feel free to laugh out loud at home. But yeah, they measure it. They count it.
Now, in your experience, and you've been acting on stage and off stage for a while, has there ever been an opportunity or what's a moment you can share with us where laughter or counting laughs was such a good part for you?
Yes, I think I know where you're going with this story. So in my acting career, I was very, very, very fortunate to have worked with some of the greatest actors of all times. I worked with Michael Richards, who played Kramer on Seinfeld. I worked with Andy Dick when he was directing, actually. I worked with Dodie Brown, and in Canada, I worked with Jack Duffy and all kinds of names. But one of them, which was a fantastic name for me, and a lot of your younger viewers won't know this name, but I worked with Don Knotts at Stage West for, I think, about 5 months. We did 8 shows a week together for approximately 5 months. And he was overly kind to me. And I think I know the story you want me to tell, is that one day it was a matinee in the afternoon, and I'm saying, Don is a very impressive man, and he is extremely experienced. And this time he was, probably around 70 years old. So he had forgotten more than I'll ever know. And I'm standing backstage, and he walks off, and he stands beside me, and he says, I always got a laugh on that line in Kansas City. I don't get a laugh here. I don't know why. And I'm standing there trying to be as polite as I can. I don't react. He said, why don't I get a laugh on that line? And I thought, he's asking me. So I said, I'm sorry, Don, are you asking me why you're not getting that laugh? And he says, yeah, what do you think? Why isn't it funny here? And I said, well, I have a theory, Don, but you're Don Knotts and I'm Buddy Brennan. So, and he goes, no, please tell me. Because he was a really humble, kind man. He was all the good things you expect about him. He was better. So I gave him a little thing. I said, your voice is a little soft now, so break it up into 2 sentences and you'll get 2 laughs. So we talked about it for a few minutes, and he said, "Oh, thanks," and he gave it some thought, and that. So we did the matinee, and in the evening show, he tried breaking that line up, and he got both laughs. And so he came off stage, and he took me aside just before, just as the intermission was starting. He goes, "By the way, buddy, I took your tip, and I got 2 laughs." He said, "Thank you very much. That was such a nice tip," and he was very kind in his praise. So I standing there, I thought, oh. So I said, "Well, Don, if you enjoyed it that much, then maybe you won't mind me doing this." And just loud enough for everybody else to hear, I said, "Anytime you need help with comedy knots, you come to Buddy Brennan." And I went down to the dressing room and waited. But clearly, people were asking. Well, I said, "Well, Don needed a little help being funny. That's all, And a few minutes later, the stage manager and Don are at the dressing room door. Not good. So there's a knock. They open the door, and the stage manager, who's a tough man, he looks over. He says, "We need to talk." I said, "Out there?" Because I know I'm getting fired. So I said, "Out there or in here?" He said, No. You did in front of everybody, so will we." And Don comes by with a very serious face, and he sits on a chair beside me, and he opens the script, and he says, "Can you help me with this line too, buddy?" Of course, my eyes are going big, and I'm scared. I'm waiting for it. And then he looks at me and goes, "I got you, didn't I?" So, yeah, he was a kind, funny, gentle man. He taught me so much. He went out of his way to be nice to me. And in that same show was Jack Duffy, a Canadian legend, an icon at the time. And the 2 of them took me under their wing and taught me a lot.
So in your experience, when you go from acting in front of the camera, acting on stage, and now you're helping people kind of build their own career and their own path, what's that like for you? You used to be in front of the camera, now you're behind it helping people. Do you ever have that thirst of, geez, I want to get back in front of it again? Or are you really excited and happy to be showing the new generation how to do some stuff?
Well, I don't think it's an either or. I think it's both. If I didn't really want to get back out there and do some of it myself, then I probably wouldn't be as good at helping the actor draw the performance out of them. So that hunger is still inside of me. There's no doubt about it. But I got to tell you, Chris, and when one of our people lands a gig, there's other coaches in the office here, but when one of our coaches lands a gig, we all celebrate. We truly are. We feel the excitement, maybe sometimes more so than the actor who landed the gig. They're off to an audition, and we don't know. We've done our best to help them, and now they'll call us up and say, "Hey, I got booked on this job." Well, we yell and hoot and holler around here, going fantastic, because that celebration of doing something for somebody else, that's where true happiness, I think, comes from. And that, when I go on stage, it's because I know I can make the audience feel something. But if I can do it just with one person who then goes out and does it for more, there's great joy in that. It's really, really, really nice, happy feeling to it.
So if you can recall, how many times do you think you've been on stage?
Oh, thousands. Yeah, thousands. I was also the artistic director of several theaters in Ontario, so that facilitated opportunities to get on stage too. I was very, very, very lucky. People were kind to me even when they shouldn't have been. They cast me, and it was fantastic. I was very lucky. I love the stage. I think the stage is very, very, very important, and I think it's a great foundation for all actors. I think every single actor in the world should spend a little bit of time on stage, because that's where you hone your craft. Yeah, but I was lucky. People were kind to me. I even with commercials, the casting directors in Toronto were very good to me. I think it's because I loved it.
Beautiful. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.